What if you accidentally scratch your boss's car? Matthew knows he's in big trouble. He's about to slip away while nobody's around. But the moment he stands up, he spots the dash cam in the car. It caught everything on tape. His supervisor already has it out for him. And if the guy finds out who scratched his car, who knows how much worse that grudge could get since nobody saw him do it. He hightails it off the scene, figuring he'll figure out a fix later. Luckily, the supervisor works late that night, and by the time he heads home it's pitch black. He doesn't notice the scratch at all. What makes Matthew even more relieved is the shocking news he gets the next day. His supervisor has mysteriously vanished, and his superiors need him to step into the supervisor's role to take over the investigation into a recent plane crash. Matthew jumps at the chance. He drives straight to the supervisor's house, confirms he's not home, and doesn't hesitate before scaling the wall into the yard. Sure enough, the supervisor's car is still in the garage, so he smashes a window, sneaks inside, and grabs the car keys. His plan is to delete the dash cam footage, but when he plugs the memory card into his computer and starts looking for his own clip, he stumbles onto a secret so huge it could get him killed. 2 days earlier, a passenger plane suddenly crashed. All 300 people on board died. Matthew works at the Civil Aviation Investigation Bureau, and they get the call to find out what caused it. As a brilliant acoustic analyst, Matthew is dying to be part of the investigation, but to his frustration, his supervisor would rather bring an intern to the scene than take him the genius analyst, so Matthew is pretty down about it. Soon enough, the supervisor brings back the plane's black box and confirms all the data inside is intact. They should have been able to figure out the cause that very night. But what Matthew never expected is getting a call the next morning saying the lead investigator, his supervisor, has suddenly gone missing. The bureau chief has no choice but to put Matthew in charge, telling him and the intern to have results ready before that evening's press conference. What Matthew doesn't see coming is that when he listens to the cockpit voice recording, the supposedly intact audio only plays back the last few minutes. The rest of the data is almost completely corrupted, impossible to recover. All he can make out is a passenger rushing into the cockpit while a flight attendant is bringing the captain a meal, getting into a confrontation with the pilot, followed by a wave of screaming. After Matthew presents his report at the press conference, the media immediately labels the crash a terrorist attack. In the follow-up investigation, police also find extremist group propaganda on an Egyptian passenger's computer. At that point, the terrorist attack theory seems confirmed. The next day, Matthew's work impresses the bureau chief, who names him lead investigator. His supervisor is still missing, but just as he's about to submit the official report, he receives a voicemail from a victim's family member. The caller sounds terrified, but Matthew isn't focused on what they're saying. He's caught by an emergency landing announcement playing in the background. The weird thing is, he never found that emergency landing announcement in the original black box recording, so he starts thinking the crash might have been caused by mechanical failure, not a terrorist attack like he originally concluded. But when the bureau chief listens to the audio himself, he only catches the word emergency. The rest is too muffled to confirm whether it's an emergency landing or some other emergency code. So the chief doesn't buy the new mechanical failure theory. But this is Matthew we're talking about. He won't go toe-to-toe with the chief, but there's no way he's dropping a lead. He grabs a photo a passenger posted online and heads to the hangar where the plane wreckage is stored. Looking at the layout the investigators used to reconstruct the cabin, he has a light bulb moment. He sits down in a passenger seat, puts himself in the moment of the crash, and observes the cabin details from there. And his conclusion is exactly what he suspected. There's no way that Arab passenger could have slipped into the cockpit, because during that time, all the flight attendants were in the aisles serving meals. No passenger could have snuck past them. So Matthew tries again to prove to the chief that it wasn't a terrorist attack, but the chief only trusts what's audible in the black box, not Matthew's subjective speculation. He even warns him, gently but firmly, that audio processing can make people hear what they want to hear. You can't write guesses down as conclusions. With no other choice, Matthew keeps replaying the black box audio to prove his theory. Everything points to someone tampering with the data, but after listening countless times, he still can't find what's wrong. He tries calling the missing supervisor, but the phone keeps going straight to voicemail. After the black box was brought back from the crash site, only the supervisor and the intern touched it. The supervisor is now mysteriously gone, so Matthew tracks down the intern to ask questions. The intern tells him that on the night the supervisor disappeared, he seemed really tense after listening to the black box and insisted on staying behind alone to work on it, so the intern left the lab early. Hearing that, Matthew immediately realizes the supervisor must know something. He sneaks into the supervisor's office, and while he's searching for clues, he finds the guy's home address. So he drives straight there, smashes a window, and sneaks into the basement. It's full of work-related equipment. But just as he's about to leave empty-handed, he spots the car in the garage and suddenly remembers scratching it. He goes back inside, grabs the keys, pulls the memory card from the dash cam, and plans to take it home to delete his own footage. But that's when he notices something very suspicious. The night before the supervisor disappeared, he wasn't just anxious, he'd also met up with Matthew's old classmate, Raynaud, 2 weeks before the crash. That's when Matthew starts wondering, could the crash have something to do with Raynaud?